Have you ever had your brushes split on you? Have you ever had your brushes sort of not snap into place when you use them? Then it's probably because you did not take good enough care of your brushes. And in this video, I'm going to tell you all about how to do that to avoid those nasty issues. Hi, my name is Peter and today I'm going to talk to you about splitting brushes. We're going to talk about how to avoid having those nasty splits on the brushes and how to take care of your good miniature brushes in general. Because if you take care of them, you can actually avoid ever having to deal with this issue ever again. I have some of my favorite brushes that I have used for, it's getting close to 5 years, I think. And some of them have died, but it's solely because I did not take good enough care of them. So it's really important that you learn how to properly care for your brushes and remove all the danky, nasty paint before you buy any good brushes. It's a good idea to try and get in the habit of just taking care of all of your brushes, and then you can sort of expand into more expensive ones. Because what you don't want to do is buy a really expensive Winsor Newton and then destroy it on your first day. This is a quick step-by-step on what you should do to make sure that you do not damage your brushes. The first thing you want to do is avoid getting paint into the ferrule, or whatever it's called. It's the small metal part at the end, the brush hairs. And once paint starts to accumulate inside that little thingy, that is when you will see your brushes splitting. Don't get water with sort of acrylic paint in it, inside it, and let it dry inside of the ferrule. In all circumstances, just don't get stuff in the ferrule. It's common sense, everybody knows it, man. Step 2. If you use the Citadel paint, make sure to use a different brush when you want to get some paint out of the pot and onto the palette. You should do this because if you use the same brush that you're going to be painting with, chances are you're going to get too much paint on it and it will start drying out on you. I always have a quite thick brush on the side that I will use to scoop the paint out and put it on the palette. It's just a crappy brush. I love crappy old damaged brushes because, well, they're good for stuff like that, really. And this is just to make sure that you are not getting paint in the ferrule, really. So step 3 is to use the correct brush for the job you're doing. So when you're doing a base coat on, say, a very big piece of terrain and you're not very neat and you're going quick and it's flowing, paint over there, paint over there, boom, boom, paint over there, paint over there. But what you should remember when painting dirty is if you're going quick and you're not very neat and you're sort of, you can actually damage the brush while doing it. So it's a good idea to have some big sturdy brushes for big dirty jobs. And it's also a good idea to have a brush that you mainly use for washes. I have actually damaged one of my Winsor Newton because I used it quite heavily for some washes that I did at the point. I was testing out some stuff with just only using washes on the whole miniature. But yeah, I wrecked it because I forgot to clean it properly. And we'll get to cleaning later, but it's that was a real pain in the board. Maybe just have a brush for the wash and a brush for dry brushing, and keep your expensive Winsor Newton, Raphael, whatever you use for the detailed stuff, the neat base coats, the stuff where you really want to use an expensive brush. The step number 4 is to make sure that you never let paint dry on the hair. Never let paint dry in the hair. Never let paint dry on your brush. If you do that, if you let paint dry on the brush, it's going to lead you down a road of disaster. So you should make sure that you quite regularly take your brush and dip it in your water and shake it all around. Shake it, shake it, shake it. Don't get the tip of the brush way down inside, so don't damage the brush while you shake it. Just gently stir it in the water. So you should do it regularly when you paint, even when you're not changing what color of paint you're using. Just because quite slowly the paint will sort of dry in the middle and it will soak up into, you know, the metal part, the ferrule. So shake your brushes in the water, get the water off. But also change your water in the pot quite regularly. This is because your water will start become more paint than it is water. So now you're sort of rinsing your brush in almost painty stuff. That's no good. So change it. Especially if you use metallic paints, because the metallic paints have sort of this weird stuff in it. And you don't want that up inside your brushes. Another thing I commonly see new painters do is to leave their brushes in their water cups. So first off, they just sit the brushes in the cup with, you know, the brush, the hair first down on the bottom, completely damaging the point. And the point is the point of all of it. You need to maintain the point. And when you put it down in the cup, you're not gonna maintain the point. So they leave it in the cup, so sort of gooey water will soak up in the ferrule, and slowly you will damage the metal, you will damage the wood of the handle, you will damage the hair, you will damage the brush. So don't leave your brushes in the water for Sigma's sake. The last and most important bit is to clean your brushes with a suitable miniature brush cleaner. I use the master brush cleaner thingy. Let me get it, man. I need this. Master brush cleaner and preserver. This is the bomb. It's just amazing. I'll show you something here how I clean it. So you want some hot water running, moist this bad boy up, and then we need to slowly put it in the master cleaner and preserver. You don't want to stick it down, just boom. I will do it just because it's a crappy brush. This is not the way to do it. Do not bend your brushes. You want to slowly, like you're making sweet love with somebody. You should start seeing gunk come out of it slowly. Oh yeah, now we're seeing it. Oh, get the gunk out. So you're seeing sort of lumps of nasty dried paint coming off now. Oh, can you see that? This just came out of the brush. Oh yeah, here we go. The gunk is coming out. See these four gunky bits? That's gunk from inside this little brush right here. Woo! Whew! It's getting dirty in there. So fresh and so clean. Shake it, shake it. Whoa. So as you can see, it's starting to come out. There's a lot of gunk in this. This is not a brush I want to keep. This is a brush I use for gunky stuff. So it's okay that it's gunky, but I'm just doing this to show you how much stuff you can actually get out of a brush by doing this. So sometimes I just want to shake it off over here to get the gunky bits down in the drain. So what you could do is you could very gently go like this. Very gently. Even there I was a bit too rough. But you can see the paint is coming out. And also down here you can very gently. But do not go hard. If you go hard, you will mess up the hairs. And you don't want to do that. But you can do this. So don't mind the water. Pretend it is not on. And you can also just do this. If you want to get it out, get it out, get it out, nasty gunk. Ah, this is what saves your brushes. This is what you need. If you own expensive brushes and you don't own this, you are doing yourself a disservice. The last tip is sort of a secret that I use. Most people will store their brushes with the bristles upwards. And I have found that to be not the best idea in the world. But what I like to do is to store them downwards. And this is because if you store them this way, whatever sort of watery bits that you have left will slowly sink down here into the ferrule. And that's not good. So what I have decided to do is leave the small cabby laps on here, cap, whoops, and then just store it this way, so it just rests on the cap. It is ingenious. So what you might find is that when you get back to it, it can be slightly hard, and that's because you have not dried it good enough before you have stored it. So the water seeped down into the point, so that's not good. Make sure that you get all the waddy out before you store it. Okay, the last thing. If you are ever in a position where you have messed up your brushes in such a way that you do not think that you can save them, not even with the master brush cleaner and preserver, you can buy some sort of cleaner stuff. And I have done that, and it's okay. It can save some brushes, it can do some work, but I leave it as a last resort. It's not something I do very often. Maybe every 3 years or something I will do that. Now, I think you know everything you need to take care of your expensive brushes. So what I would suggest you do is, if you don't have the master brush cleaner and preserver, go buy it. You can also find this video in text format if you search on Google for how to take care of miniature brushes. So thanks for watching, and please remember to subscribe down below, and links in the description. Remember to subscribe.